Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
Today we have the privilege of catching up with our friend Bart Day from LCEF. The Reverend Bart Day is President and CEO of Lutheran Church Extension Fund. Welcome back to the Coffee Hour.
Thank you, Andy. It's great to be with you.
Looking forward to hearing more about what's happening at Lutheran Church Extension Fund, LCEF. But before we get into an update, for those who aren't familiar with LCEF, what is LCEF all about?
So LCEF is the financial institution of the church to provide financial resources and related services to congregations, schools, organizations, and workers of the Synod. So people, wonderful people, investors put money on deposit at LCEF. We pay them interest on those dollars, and then we put that money to work in the church by way of loans. Low-cost loans to churches, organizations, and our rostered church workers.
So what's been happening with LCEF recently? I think it's been a little while since we've had you on.
Yeah, it's been quite a while, I think, since
It was last spring, I think.
Was it really?
that long ago?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's been a while.
A lot's going on at LCF. It's been a great year. The financial strength that we enjoy allows us to do the things that truly matter the most, providing that support and resources to actually grow ministries across the church. We want to continue to impact lives, and that means we have to have resources and even more resources. So through the pandemic, the church did, I would say, relatively well. We had several borrowers that did need help and assistance, and that's exactly what LCF is here to do. Happy to say that all of those churches and schools and entities have come through the pandemic really well. And so it gave us a year to kind of get back on our strategic plan and start to think about our three kind of vision for the future and the ways we want to help grow the church and now coming out of the pandemic. And I'm happy to say that this year we're actually seeing robust lending across the LCMS again, and people actually starting to re-engage in projects that are supporting their congregation and projects and work that's actually going to impact their communities and the world.
Yeah, that's all very good stuff, things that we've seen going on across the Synod. Mm-hmm. The economy's been a little dicey, a little rocky lately. How's that been for LCEF?
The economy has been very dicey, to say the least. I can tell you that last year we did end up having a great year, almost $7 million of operating income, which is great because that means we're able to share that money with Synod and our 31 member districts of LCEF. So we gave away $2.5 million of gifts and grants to the districts in the Synod. They put that money to work in their districts, not just their operating budgets, but actually to expand and extend ministry. Of course, the sweeping economic impact, particularly to the financial markets last year, affected LCEF. If you look at our books and our offering circular, all of that's available now. We had a $40 million loss at the end of last year. It was really completely driven by $59 million worth of loss in our investment portfolio, both in long-term, short-term. Wow. I'm happy to say, though, that those are unrealized losses. So that would have been the losses that we would have had if we had actually sold those positions, which we didn't sell them. We haven't sold them. We won't sell them while they're underwater. But as a non-for-profit, we have to mark to market, so we have to show those market losses. So that volatility, we were not immune from that, but still operating income was very strong. We could make the earning distribution to people, but did have to book a loss for the year. But again, as I said, that was last year. We're 5 months into the new fiscal year, and again, lending and things are on the up, but the markets are still volatile. I think last month there was probably $10 million loss in our investment portfolio, but we have several $100 million that's invested, so the market volatility will impact LCEF.
When you went to seminary, did you ever think that in your service you would use the words market volatility?
Yeah, no. I mean, I joke that other than the first 7 years of just being the parish pastor before I moved to the school or to Synod Inc. or to LCF, I've basically spent most of my ministry doing things that the seminary did not prepare me to do. That's somewhat untrue. I mean, the seminary has been the basis for all of this, but yeah, I've just had the opportunity to be involved in all kinds of other things. So going back to school and getting my MBA was very helpful to try to help LCF. And hey, trust me, I'm not making those kind of decisions for LCF. We have a lot of really, really smart people that work at LCF and a lot of really smart investment partners that actually allowed us to do better than the general markets. I mean, we outperformed the benchmarks last year of both bonds and equities, but still significant losses, at least paper losses, unrealized loss for LCEF. So No, I didn't expect that this is what I'd be talking about or doing 26 years ago when I graduated from the seminary, but I love it.
But what's it like to be a part of an organization that's so devoted to supporting ministry, using the resources that God has entrusted to us, particularly looking at financial resources and other time and talents as well?
It's wonderful. I mean, I get jazzed up about it. And I think the employees at LCEF do, no matter what they're doing. We talk a lot about the godly vocations that people are given to do at LCEF and the fact that they're really impacting ministry, whether they're processing investments that are coming in or they're working on closing loans or they're working in the accounting department. The people are working at LCEF because of the culture and the mission and the impact that we're making, and they believe that those daily vocations and tasks that God's given them to do are really furthering the kingdom. So it's a great place to work. It's a completely unique ministry. There are certainly other CEFs. Many denominations have church extension funds. We're not unique like that, but LCEF is by far the largest church extension fund in the United States, and that allows us not only to serve the LCMS, but as you know, serve many of our international church partners. I just got back from South America where we were meeting with the church in Uruguay and looking at a seminary expansion potentially in Argentina, and the president of the Church of Chile came over to meet with us in Montevideo because they have a new mission plant that they want to buy a building for in Santiago, and they're looking to LCEF to help finance. So we also it's pretty cool to help partner churches around the world also when they have projects that LCEF can be a part of.
You mentioned the commitment and the investment of the staff, the team at LCEF. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's just one piece that makes LCEF a great organization and sustainable. Let's talk about it. We've talked about some of the challenges that we've faced financially over the last year or so, the last couple of years probably. But what about sustainability for LCEF and looking toward the future?
Yeah, so we've invested a lot of time in a strategic plan where we're really trying to look to the future of the things that better support the church and its mission. Several people at LCEF say that their job is here to encourage congregations and organizations really to dream about what God is calling them to do, and then actually to help facilitate that through services and finally with financial resources to make that stuff happen. But as we think to the future, an awful lot of time and energy at LCEF right now that is internal to us around continuous improvement. We spend a lot of time and money doing market research about what our current customers and people that aren't with LCEF, what they actually want and need. We're doing a major overhaul of our core banking system, which is a huge lift, and it's going to take a long time to implement a new core banking system. But we're also adding a lot of ancillary products. So, right now when you open accounts at LCEF, you don't do that online. You don't do that electronically. You don't fund accounts electronically. All of that stuff is coming, and it's actually, we have those. We're doing it in-house. We're doing QA on that stuff right now, and it's going to be pushed out to people. So allowing people to interact with us more like transactionally, like a bank electronically, particularly for the younger generation, is coming. So the core banking and those kind of online digital banking services are coming at LCEF. The other one is our whole CRM. We are using Salesforce, so that's been a large integration for us. It just allows us to see our ministry partners and our customers kind of 360 holistically, and allows everyone at LCEF to see what's going on with people. Don't you hate it when you talk to one person organization and they don't know what you talked to the organization about 2 months ago when you talked to somebody else? So the CRM is helping us to really better serve the customers by being able to see them and to see their ministries or individual investors more holistically. So I would say the whole piece around continuous improvement, particularly around the core banking and the CRM, are important for our future, as is building partnerships. And we know that the work that we want to do to really grow ministry opportunities are going to take an awful lot of partners. And it's not just about money. We need people to do things. So we've been forging new partnerships with Concordia Plan Services and the Foundation, particularly around, we used to host this leadership conference. People came to the fall conference on leadership, and we just hosted a summit on leadership where we brought a lot of people from all over the church to the table to say, what does the church need for future leaders? What is that? What are the competencies and capacities that leaders need to actually grow ministry in the future? And we hosted that with Concordia Plans and Foundation, and I think there's going to be resources and a conference type thing come in the future that would be the three of us in partnership. Love the partnership with Set Apart to Serve. If you haven't gotten your interest time, have you gotten the new one yet? It's just hitting the mailboxes.
Not yet.
So interest time is our, publication. It's all about Set Apart to Serve, which is the Synod's initiative on raising up future church workers, encouraging all of God's people in their vocations and how they serve the church, but particularly encouraging those to discern serving the church. And so we've been in a partnership. That issue is about church workers, but we're actually doing a very specific project with Set Apart to Serve with Concordia Publishing House as our partner. They're producing kits, curriculum for Lutheran schools, elementary schools through high schools. I think colleges and seminaries will get the kits too. LCEF is providing a pretty significant grant to CPH to help develop those kits, but then assure that every school gets them for no charge. And hopefully they'll integrate that into their curriculum and find ways really to engage students in the future. So the partnership piece is another one that's just really significant to us in order to kind of move things forward.
So we've got continuous improvement, we got building partnerships. What's that third part of the strategic plan at LCEF?
Yeah, it has to do with exploring new financial resources. And here I would talk about real estate solutions. As much as LCEF is a lender, we're also in the real estate business because that lending is facilities. As you guys probably know, that as Lutheran churches have struggled over the last decade, a lot of churches and organizations have just been selling property. Sometimes they use that to do new mission work. Sometimes people just use it to pay off old debt and move on. We are really seeing a shift that congregations, organizations, and districts in particular are not so interested in selling properties anymore, particularly in the urban core, because they understand once we sell the property, we're gone. So they've now been looking to LCEF really around real estate development. Like, okay, if we have a piece of property, like what might we do on this property to actually develop it? Maybe even really creative things like putting retail in there where it's generating dollars, but we also have space for ministry, or we're engaging our community, or could we do low-income housing, or could we do any number of mixed usages? So we've been investing a lot in real estate and actually hiring real estate experts at LCEF to really come alongside ministries to say, okay, you've got an idea, you have an opportunity, you have land or a facility. What might we do instead of just brokerage and selling that, but actually develop something that really creates and grows ministry in the future? So all of the new financial resources that LCEF can find apart from simply just investor dollars to move ministry forward is another piece we continue to work toward.
So if anyone's interested in learning more about some of these things that we've shared today, how do we find that information?
Best way is to go to the website, lcef.org. You can click on the resource tab and you can find all of these services that we provide. You can always call us at 1-800-843-5233. And our ladies and gentlemen in the customer service department would be happy to chat with you.
They're always the nicest folks to talk to, by the way.
They're wonderful. They love to talk about anything or pray with folks, or I think people call sometimes just to visit. They don't even really have any questions, but they love the folks in the call center and just love talking to them.
Thanks. Anything else for us today, Bart, as we wrap up our time together?
I would just say thank you for all that KFUO does to spread the gospel to the ends of the earth. So keep up the good work, and we appreciate the partnership with all of you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us on the Coffee Hour.
Thank you.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.